Have you come up with any ideas? Oh,
We're live.
We're going.
Go ahead. Any ideas for what?
Any ideas for the title of
Aaron
your new show?
Came up with Monday queued up because he had come up with that, and Chris said he liked it. So
what is that? Monday Q what?
Monday queued up.
Ooh, Monday queued up.
Queuing up like what's coming up in the thing.
Okay.
I'm going to send out the tweet. Hold, please.
Yeah, those are better than what I came up with. I had like Project Garage. Garage practice round.
Okay. If you're joining us live, 1 second. This is our first one doing YouTube, so
nobody's joining us live. Not yet. Not yet.
Can you see it on YouTube?
Don't know. Should I pull up YouTube?
Hold on, got it muted. It is there on YouTube.
All right. Well, let's get going.
All right. Welcome to the first live Monday Q review in the new studio. Oh, I'm supposed to have this up. Look at that.
There it is.
There it is.
Mark? The lights are on. Thanks to Perrin.
We're back. Zack will be joining us here. Zack Fischer, Brett White will be joining us. Mark, quickly, we'll go to you. Q School coming up. How are you feeling?
I am feeling optimistic.
All right.
My game seemed to be steadily improving, and I got in contention at an Asher Tour event recently. So, what's not to be optimistic about?
Yeah.
How did you feel about the Ryder Cup? What are your thoughts? What are your takeaways?
Do we really want to get in? It's too late. We're just going to wait for Zack. It's just too much. It's
all
too
right,
much.
Too much. Fair enough.
There's too. I just tweeted. Some guy just tweeted that I need to worry about staying out of people's wallets, and I just quote tweeted it and said, "Xander?" ? It's just unfortunate that this is what comes of it. I think there's a healthy debate about whether players should be compensated differently or in some way, but it is not the week to do it. It takes away from an amazing event. And to have someone's dad hold court with the media about the lack of pay is not the place or the time, and it sucks. It's an amazing event. Even with the controversy kind of made it fun with Joe. You can take who's at fault. Joe's at fault, by the way. And all that, like the payment thing just stinks. It's just not the place or time. No one, including me, including everyone, wants to hear millionaires fight over more millions. It just stinks. The timing stinks because it's a great event. And that's what I think. I think if Xander wants to stay home and he thinks he should be paid, just go ahead and stay home. It's easy. It's an easy solution.
How much do you think some of the live guys and Keegan Bradley, Lucas Glover would have paid to be there?
I mean, Keegan told Dan Rappaport in that little caddy session he has that he would have paid $10 million for it. So it seems like someone paying $10 million to be on the team and someone who wants to be paid millions, just different. I mean,
okay, let's go from people who are getting paid significantly in one way or another to people who are not but hope to be.
Yes.
We are joined very soon by Zack Fischer or Brett White or both. Who's coming?
Zack is going to be first. He's coming on at 7:30 in a couple minutes. And then Brett at 7:50, depending on that's in Mississippi, Sanderson Farms time zone, whatever time zone you're in. So yeah, that's let's go through the four who got through. Brett White, I think most know his story, but we'll talk about it a little bit. It's been a long time, so I do want to address some other things about Brett. Is Brett had a brain infection and couldn't walk or talk for a little bit, and then kind of for weeks and months was in rehab, learned to do those things again, and now it's back. Was a conditional Corn Ferry member this year, just couldn't take advantage of the few starts he got. Mark knows this well. We did it last year or 2 years ago. Can't remember. Your conditional status is up. These fall events, you're still eligible to skip pre-qualifying. So that's why these fields are pretty big. They'll be even bigger at the Shriners and at the RSM and those things, because even the top 75, they don't have anything else to play in. They might as well go chase some Mondays. So these fields are really good. These are actually some of the hardest Mondays of the year because so many Corn Ferry guys come in. So Brett, Chase Wright, when I caddied for Tom, we played in the Butler National Pro-Am they have during that week. We played with Chase also. Nice dude. Chris Baker, longtime grinder, was on the PGA Tour for a year. And Zack Fischer, who's also a longtime grinder. I tweeted out, Mark, 43 seasons combined as a pro, and one of those seasons as a PGA Tour member combined between the four. And it's what makes Mondays great.
There's so much to love about it. And all these players need every opportunity they can get in the fall to be ready for Q school. I mean, anybody who gets through now is certainly hoping that look, a made cut does a lot for you. You get to essentially skip any pre-qualifiers. Now, if you have status, you already get to do that. But Ryan, here's a question that I have. With the new schedule, with the season ending at the end of the fall series, if you make a cut in the fall, it will not transfer over to next season, correct?
That's a great question, Mark, and I don't think so. I don't think it does transfer over. That'll be a really great question because, as Mark said, if you make a cut, then used to be when you were exempt into when this was part of the new season, then if you Monday qualified and made a cut in the fall season, then you skip pre-qualifiers till the end of 2024. And it's so huge. So I would assume not, because they're going to a true season, but it's a very good question. I would assume not. And it takes a huge incentive away from these fall events for sure, for guys with no status.
That used to be such a massive perk. It was like getting a great benefit of making it to final stage without having to make it to final stage.
Yeah. And Mark, I mean, to go back to the AT&T when Mark played, it was early February. And if you didn't think that we didn't talk about that, Mark had lost his status, 100%, that was part of the conversation, was make this cut and get to go to the rest of the Mondays without going to a pre-qualifier. Had he missed the cut at the AT&T, Mark would have probably played Mark would answer better. You probably would have played like 2 or 3 Mondays, meaning go to the pre-Q. Instead, you played like 10 or 15 or whatever you did.
It would have saved me a lot of money.
Yeah. Here comes Zack.
We have Zack Fischer in the house.
Hey, guys.
Zack.
Hey, Zack. Congratulations.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Zack,
pumped to be in this week.
First of all, congratulations. Second of all, let's talk about your season and then come into this. You struggled a little bit this year. Do you take these as an opportunity to what are you using these Monday Qs? Obviously, now that you got in, it's easy to say I'm going to go top 10 and figure it out. But do you use this? Are you using this as prep for Q school, Zack? What do you kind of use these Mondays for?
Honestly, I don't even really have an answer for that. I kind of just went into it as I had a terrible year, I guess, if you look at it as, I finished like 110th or something on the points list. Just didn't have my game. And my wife and I were talking, and she was like, it was just a bad season. It wasn't, it doesn't make your career. It's just a bad season. And honestly, the season's still not over. I made a few points in Houston last year, and I made a few points in the British Open this year. So I could, do something crazy like some of the other guys have done. And, I mean, maybe not even have to worry about Q school. You never know. It's just kind of whatever the Lord says happens. And, I'm kind of going into the week as I'm playing with house money. I'm just, excited to have a chance to play again. I wasn't sure if I was going to get to play again until second stage. So I'm just going to go into it, there's nothing to lose.
Before Mark asks a question, I do want to say, and we'll erase this part of this interview, Zach, but your caddy called today and asked how to steal a bit. So I don't want to put him on. I don't want to put him like his business out there, but him and I had a conversation about how to properly steal a bib. I've become the go-to person.
Yeah, he didn't do very well at the British Open. He tried his hardest, man. They shut that down quick.
Mark? Sorry, I just had to figure out how to unmute myself there. We've got a little toddler in the background running around, and I want to keep his screeches out of the recording as much as possible. So, Zach, you have a incredible track record at Q School. The only player to win Q School final stage twice. And then you played in the Open Championship this year. I assume, correct me if I'm wrong, that are you back to first stage of Q School? Is it based on your status?
So fortunately, when I won in Argentina, that was a Latin American event, and they didn't have very many events this year. And so I was bouncing around. My buddy Peyton Wilhoit was watching, and at their final tournament, and if a guy, I don't know who it was, but he would bogey a hole or he'd birdie a hole, and I'd move like 26, moving back to 25, and I ended up finishing 24th. So I moved up high enough to where I get to go to second stage this year, which is, I mean, that's a big deal because I don't think I was going to be ready mentally to play in, next week or the week after. It was going to be really hard because, I mean, I was pretty devastated after missing the cut in Columbus. I mean, I had to top 4 or something crazy to get to the last tournament, but when I missed the cut by 1, it hurt really bad, and it was a tough way to end the year, missing 5 out of the last 6 cuts, and I didn't feel like I was playing that bad. I told everybody, I said I could shoot even par on any golf course in the world. I mean, whether it's the Open Championship or Springfield, Missouri, I was going to shoot even par, and it's just one of those things. So it just, like I said, it was a season, and I'm hoping that, tides are turning.
Yeah, shooting even par in Springfield, Missouri, and even par at the Open Championship. Dramatically different outcomes. But that's something that's really interesting. And you can be the type of player who goes out and plays really steady and solid and misses cuts on the Korn Ferry Tour. And then you take that same game, that game might be a game that doesn't make a lot of mistakes and excel at the next level because the conditions are just a little more difficult and more penalizing when you hit a bad shot or short side yourself or get in the rough. So it really could bode well for you that your game is in a steady, solid place. Do you get that sense? I mean, and then the other thing too is when you're finishing your season on Korn Ferry and the pressure of needing to play well versus the feeling of free roll here on the PGA Tour. Can you talk about how that weighs on you or how you're going to use that to, your advantage this week?
Yeah, that's a perfect point. I mean, Mark, I know you know that firsthand. Just the fact that I wasn't trying to put pressure on myself coming down the stretch on the Korn Ferry Tour. I'm trying everything. I'm saying all the right stuff. I'm trying to, make myself believe that, it's not a big deal to lose your status. But I've been on the other side of that for 4 years where I didn't have it. And, I'm 34 years old and I'm putting all this stuff. And so it's just more anxiety and more pressure. And then once the season ended, it was it's over. I could breathe. It's even though I didn't make it, it's take a couple of days and, you lick your wounds and you go right back into battle. And I love golf. I can't stay away from it. I want to go out and play, and whether it's, playing with the members at Pleasant Valley Country Club or, going and playing, a really nice course or playing tournaments. Like, I just enjoy golf. And once the season ended, like, I took basically a week off and then went right back out there. And like all of a sudden I was like, man, I feel like I'm freewheeling it. And then today in the qualifier, like, I just kind of was like, if I don't qualify, I'm going to get to go home. It's a 4.5 hour drive back home. If I qualify, it's a 4.5 hour drive down here. My family's going to get to come down here. Either way, it's going to be great. And I'm trying to, like, I don't know, take that attitude into this week. And, it could be really difficult if I get off to some great start, like, through 2 rounds. And it's hard to, make it to where that the trying to care but not care, I don't even know how to explain it. Caring about not caring, I think is what I was trying to say. But that's the way you play your best golf, is just whenever you're just free and you don't have any sort of pressure and no anxiety. And whenever I won Q schools, both the Q schools, like, I had the same feeling where it was just easy. Like, I'm not caring what's going to happen. Either way, I was going to have status on the Korn Ferry Tour, and like, I just knew it, and I'm just chill. And I'm going to try to do that this week and see what happens.
For the people listening, Zack I used to not do this over the phone or video. I used to send a lot of messages, and Zack had I use it all the time when Zack is in contention or at the thing. I asked him, he had struggled for a while and then had some success. I asked him what changed, and he just said, off the course had changed more than anything I had changed on the course. It's like, I worked at, I know faith is very important to you, Zack, and I worked on getting a better husband and a better father, and that translates to that. So just speak on it a little bit, Zack, like, what off the course, like, especially when you're struggling, when you've had a bad season, it's hard to not take that home, but you, like, off the course help on the course, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think your point is, like, it hits it, like, right, exactly what I'm, like, was trying to say whenever I said that message. And honestly, I almost, like, want you to post it more often on Twitter, just so it can remind me, because I'm like, did I say that? Because it's like, it almost makes you feel guilty again. You're like, wait a second, like, this is what I was feeling, and I was playing great golf, so maybe I need to go down that route again. And that's kind of what happened, in the week I had off. I went, I got to get back into our church, and, heard a great message, and just felt like the Lord was, like, telling me just to let go. Like, I got this. Like, whatever happens, it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. It doesn't matter in the scheme of eternity. Like, it's just all about, glorifying Him in everything you do. And if you do that, like, there's no reason to be disappointed, because He's got it all mapped out anyway. And like I said, it doesn't even matter in the grand scheme of things. And I lose that. Like, I think everybody, as believers, they lose that. And that's just part of, Satan trying to get in our heads or whatever. But it's something I need to be reminded of. So maybe you need to post a little bit more about that, Ryan.
You're not thinking about that coming up on Friday on the cut line. You're just like, man, this is miserable.
Yeah, that's tough.
All right. Sub 70, we'll talk a little bit about Jason. I try not to give him too much publicity. I'm just kidding. He's been a great dude. He's my first sponsor I ever had. And
he's the whole reason like, you're the reason that Jason and I got connected.
Yeah.
Because I saw a post that you made.
Yeah. And so Zack plays sub 70s. Jason went to the Open Championship. Just been a huge help to me. Wouldn't probably be here if it wasn't. I was like, people are really going to give me money to talk about stuff is crazy. So thanks to Jason. Zack, Michael Riley has a question. Michael's a longtime listener. He said, should the Korn Ferry Tour make an attempt to choose courses and setups that don't reward such different play than the PGA Tour does? Is it even possible?
I mean, that's a question above my pay grade. I don't necessarily think that the golf courses that the Korn Ferry plays are that much easier. I mean, some of them definitely are, but it's just based upon the time of the year, and the golf courses can't get firm and fast. And so, like Ohio State last week or week at whatever it was, 3 over was the cut line. Well, if you go back in August, which was last year, I think the cut was like 2 or 3 under. So just because it's softer and, it's hot, and I'm sure Evansville this week will be diabolical because it'll actually be firm and fast. And I think the cut last year was 2 under. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and mark it down to being like 2 or 3 over. Like, it's going to be hard. Even though there's no cut, like, it's going to be brutal.
Yeah.
So it's just based upon the time of the year. And that's something that, the Korn Ferry Tour struggles with. Just you're trying to get a tournament to match with the date, and then, trying to get a sponsor to go with the tournament and the date. Like, it's a big it's just tough. I mean, it's a tough job. And I think Alex Baldwin's doing a great job trying to listen to us and, get feedback from us. We do surveys every week, just trying to see, what they could possibly do better at each event. And, I mean, honestly, I think the Korn Ferry Tour is in a really, really good spot with her.
Zach, take people behind the scenes of a scramble after you Monday qualify. How did you find a place to stay? How'd you get your car arranged? And then talk a little bit about the condensed practice. It's a little bit different for you because you're a full Korn Ferry member, so you don't ever have to, you didn't this season, you've done it in the past, have to ever face the Monday Q grind. But let's just talk first about the scramble of, like, once you qualify, how'd you find a place to stay, all those kind of things.
Well, so this week, or this Monday, was a lot nicer than years past because there was only one wave of tee times. So I got done, I don't know, it was probably 12:30, 12:45. And then by the time I got the notification or, waiting for the last tee time to come in, like, it was like 3 o'clock. So, or no, I think it was 2 o'clock. Yeah, it was 2 o'clock. And so I had way more time this week than I've probably ever had in any qualifier I've ever done. So it was a lot easier. But in the past, I mean, it's brutal because, first of all, you can't register on Monday, which is so hard. And then, like, my Korn Ferry credentials, they don't work. Like, my Korn Ferry credentials don't work at all. So you have to get, like, your credentials. And then, like, you got to figure out where the locker room is. And then you got to figure out, where the tournament office is. And then registration. And then dining. And you're asking all these questions. And then this is all normally on Tuesday. And you got to find a way to play a practice round, which is normally 5.5, 6 hours. And then you got to find a little bit of time to practice. And it's just like, I mean, it just snowballs. And the next thing you know, it's Wednesday. And you're like, well, I got to practice a little bit. But you're still kind of like, if you're tinkering with anything, which probably are not, you got the reps there. And then you only get certain times when you're able to be on the driving range because the Pro-Am is during Wednesday. And it's just like, man, it just, like, you don't ever feel prepared. And you take it for granted whenever you do have, like, status on Korn Ferry, and you can just show up on Monday and play the Pro-Am on Monday and, just take it easy. But then if you Monday qualify, like, today wasn't that bad. Like I said, like, I was able to register. I already got my credentials. The house wasn't that big of a problem. So today was a lot easier, like, by far the easiest one I've ever done.
I assume 18. You're gonna play all 18 tomorrow, Zach. You haven't played this course. Have you played this course before?
I qualified actually the COVID year, and so there's like nobody here.
Yeah, it's a good Monday.
Good Monday. It was the weirdest golf tournament probably since I'd played in college. Like, it was strange. Nobody here, and not allowed to do anything. It's just like the dining was like grab and go. Like, it was weird. It was just don't touch anything, basically.
Yeah. All right.
Zach, just real quick. Oh, did we lose him? Oh,
there he is.
When you finished today, when you shot 600, did you think that was going to be enough, or were you kind of on the fence about what it meant?
So I had a putt on 18. So on Sunday they had already put the dots out Sunday night, and Joel Thielen and I were driving around and we were putting to the dots, and actually he was putting, I wasn't putting to it, and I saw the putt. I mean, to the inch of where my putt was on 18, like 20, 25 feet straight up the hill. And I made that putt, and I was like, that's for sure going to get me at least into a playoff. Because the wind had really started picking up. And I knew that there was already a 7 and a 6 in. And I'm like, man, I just don't see, a few more 7s coming in. Like, it just there's just no way. Like, I thought there would be another 6, but I mean, it was playing really difficult in the afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, I posted the scores from the last 3 years has been 5. So I saw, I mean, all the good scores came in early. Besides Brett came a little bit later, and it was. I thought for sure there'd be a couple more 6s the way it rolled. But Zach, you've been awesome to me for a long time. I was just looking back on the Twitter. I think that was in 2019 that you sent that message. So.
At the Valero in 2019, Corey Connors, Valero.
Yeah, Zach is like the forgotten guy in the Valero story. I mean,
I know.
Guy finishes 14th as a Monday qualifier, and everybody's like, "Yeah, what? 14th? What are you talking about?
Play better, Zach."
Yeah, play better. That's right.
Zach.
Nobody. Hey, I beat him in the qualifier. I beat him by like 3.
I mean, yeah, easily. I think he the last spot was like by 2 or 3. So
yeah. There's like 3 7s, and then there were 6 4s, and he got in a 6 for 1.
Yeah, he made a 30-footer on the last hole, and then
changed everything.
Won a 6 for 1 in the first hole, the only birdie.
And Chase Hanna didn't take the. He should get a royalty. He should get a royalty for that.
Man, if he doesn't get like a case of wine from Corey every year, he's like he should be out. Should be out. Zach.
Hey, we have one more. One more fan question if Zach has the time.
Yeah.
All right. From a good friend of Monday Q Info, Skip Westfall, and it ties into what you were saying earlier, I think. How does Zach stay focused on faith during tournament weeks, or what other mental fitness work does he do?
Man, I'd like to tell you that I'm like, really, really, really engaged mentally, and like I'm like the most I do all these exercises for mental, meditation and all this stuff. I mean, honestly I could be I'd be lying if I didn't say I wasn't in my Bible. I need to be in my Bible more. But Bible studies on Tuesday night are really nice, and I may get to go to that tomorrow night just because, like I said, I've gotten some of the stuff taken care of today, and so I won't feel as rushed. And so I'll definitely probably check that out. And but yeah, I'm trying to do better. Honestly, I'm trying to start reading my Bible a lot more. My wife is incredible. She keeps me accountable when it comes to that stuff. And then Mark can attest to this. But you look at your little girl, or I don't know if it's a little girl or little boy, Mark, but your child, and like you could just see like how much God loves you just because like you love your kids so much. And so. That's kept my focus on priorities, and trying to keep God first, and just try to make golf, I don't know, 5th, 6th, whatever it is.
Zach, you might as well win the Sanderson Farms. I mean,
that'd be awesome.
As Mark has said, and Mark can attest to, it's a free roll. And I know that on Friday, if you shoot 266s and are leading, it won't feel like that, obviously, but it is a free roll, and I look forward to watching it through the week.
It's the same thing. It's everything we do every single time, Mark. All we do is just try to get that little ball in the hole as few times as possible.
That's all. It's not. Yeah, it's not that complicated. Don't overcomplicate it. Just let the golf gods direct your ball where it belongs. You're prepared for whatever the course and Satan throw at you, Zach. You got it.
Well, thank you guys so much.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Zach, so much. Appreciate it. Play well this week.
Thank you.
Best of luck, man.
See ya. All right, guys. Thank you, Zach. It's a good dude. It's been, like I said, the message I just looked back on it was 2019. So him and I have been in contact for a long time. Brett White is going to be in here in just a minute. I just sent him a text. So he'll be in here in a minute too. Great story, great dude. But your takeaway from Zach, Mark?
I just think that he has seen a bit of every level of the game, and he's very close to he's right now very prepared to play well. Yeah. After a full season of Korn Ferry, and his expectations, I think, are, pretty non-existent, which is exactly the way you need to play your best golf.
Brett White is here. Brett,
speaking of someone who plays his best golf.
Yeah. Here,
often.
Hey,
I will give people some insight that Brett asked, is it on video? And I said, yeah. And I said, yeah, but it's not, it's like totally informal. He goes, oh, I'll put a shirt on. I was like, okay.
well, it's because it's laundry day. I have all my laundry over there. So.
Yeah, I understand.
I had to make sure that I was repping all the sponsors and everything.
Yeah. Brett, congratulations, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Congrats, Brett.
I talk every time I talk to Brett, I talk about his story. So I'm committed to not talking about his story. If you don't know Brett's story, it's on my Twitter page probably 60 times. Brett, let's go back to the waste management, which you Monday qualified, and take that experience, which is it was the first elevated event. I mean, it was a huge event, obviously 16 and all of those things. What can you take from the waste management that you can translate to this week?
I mean, the waste management was it was an awesome experience. It was not only was it a huge event, it just had a lot of buzz. It was a huge event for me because it was my first PGA tournament, but it was an elevated event, like you said. There was a lot going on that week. But me personally, I was really happy with how my nerves were. I mean, there's tons of people, all that stuff. I was happy with how I conducted myself, how I was committed to every shot. The results weren't exactly what I wanted, but I took a lot of positives away from that week that, I'm hoping to roll into this week.
Brett, we talked to Zack about it, but we'll ask you, have to go back to first stage unless something happens this week. Is this I know we said the same thing to Zack, and Mark knows obviously better than I do, is there's no such thing as a true free roll in golf, but if there is a thing, it's kind of like this. There is a no-lose situation. You miss the cut, you go back to first stage. If you play well and catch lightning in a bottle, things can happen. So is this the most comfortable feeling you can feel, but although still feeling some pressure?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know. As a Monday qualifier, you go in, you're a little bit happy to be there, and then all of a sudden, 12 hours later, I'll flip to, all right, let's put some work down. Let's really go out and see what we got this week. I'm just happy, like you said, with first stage coming up. I'm happy to go and test my game and all the work that I've been doing in a high pressure situation, high pressure environment. So no matter what, I expect to play well this week, but no matter what, I'm going to be drawing some positives, or I'll have, this in my back pocket for Q school time, which, more rounds under pressure is going to be good.
Brett, I'm just looking at your scorecard here. Looks like 2 eagles today. And my question here, very important and serious, is when you beat Ryan 8-6 in the Monday Q versus Monday Q match, do you think that fueled this performance?
I think it did. We went out, we were in Houston for the Mexico Monday qualifier, and we did that, and it was so fun. And it was his first one. And I'm like, man, I'm sorry I had to beat you so bad, but,
wow.
I just couldn't stop making birdies. Sorry, Ryan. But that match, it's very similar to Ryder Cup pressure.
Yeah.
So I'm 1-0 in match play. I don't know.
Yeah. For those that are listening, there is a show coming out called Monday Q. I play Brett. And the first hole, just insight into pro golf and how good the guys are that are out there playing. I'm an okay golfer, and the first hole was into there's a 10, 15 mile an hour wind into our face, and it was 459 par 4. And it's what am I doing? And what?
I told you not to play the tips.
Yeah. And so I ripped it left into the trees, and then, it was over pretty quickly. It was we were standing on 14 green tee, I think, and it was over. But
that footage is never going to see the light of day. Ryan has scrapped the entire production.
I'm trying to get
rid
rid
of
of
beaten
When
so
you
badly.
mentioned that, I was like, you know what? I haven't watched that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it might have been because I drummed you.
Yeah. Brett, talk a little bit about Carey. A lot of people are always interested in the financial aspect of golf and how it works and kind of what it's done for you.
Yeah, Carrie. I just happened to find them or play with. I played with a guy who was a Carrie athlete last year on the Canadian Tour. After I lost my card, I went back and played on the Canadian Tour for a couple events to finish out the year. And I asked him about it. Hey, what's this all about? Is it legit? Because sometimes, when you hear things like, oh, they're going to raise money, and it's if it sounds too good to be true, then it usually is. But Donnie, I talked with Donnie, Donnie Dotson, the founder of Carrie, and just talking with him, and he's a good dude. Knew he was going to put his best effort into it, and they raised a bunch of money for 10 athletes, and it helps out a lot, definitely. Paid for Q school, paid for a lot of my Monday qualifier, paid for a lot of Canada expenses throughout the year, and conditional status on Korn Ferry Tour is not fun, nor is it cheap. So that definitely helped out a lot.
Yeah, that's. Can you translate any of the pressure, Brett? For those listening, if you have conditional status, your starts are here and there, very spread out. You usually find out for Brett like Tuesday or like late in the week that you're going to be in. You get there. Can you translate any of that pressure to this, Brett? Like that you, or maybe learn from putting too much pressure on yourself in those events to this?
Yeah, a little bit, because both times maybe you're not necessarily planning on playing the event. You're hoping to play the event. So once you get in, it's just a little bit more of a condensed week. Same with Monday qualifiers, same with getting a call on Monday night and flying in on Tuesday. You're only getting one round. You might be on little sleep, all that kind of stuff. But definitely, don't put too much pressure on yourself. I think I did that this year in Chile. It was my only start in the first 8 that I got in. And as Mark, as you know, if you make the cut in the first 8, one event in the first 8 on the Korn Ferry Tour, you're probably going to play at least the next 8 and have an opportunity, to play a full year out there. So I definitely think I might have put myself under a little too much pressure, or just played too aggressively, trying to make a move when really all I needed was a cut. I'm learning. I've learned from that situation and learned from a couple of those last minute type deals. This week I feel very comfortable. I'm sure on Thursday I'll get a little butterfly in my stomach on the first hole, hit my first shot, and then away we go. It's going to be golf as normal, but I've definitely learned a lot. Waste management, Korn Ferry events, all that stuff. Just waiting to make the next step.
Brett, what will your next 2 days look like in preparation? And does it give you added motivation that the trophy for this, you'll be able to hoist a giant cock over your head?
Definitely, yeah. But my next 2 days, so tomorrow I'm going to play 18 holes. I'm going to go get a good warm-up in, play 18 holes, and really try and figure out the golf course will be my only opportunity. And then Wednesday will be a lot of short game work, maybe a few numbers things. Like Arizona and Scottsdale is a little different because it's different climate, higher elevation, the ball goes further. Here is a little bit more like home at Houston. So I'll have my numbers. It's a little less stressful, less work, more feel the next 2 days. So I'll get a good look at the golf course tomorrow. Maybe I'll hit a couple tee shots on the range on Wednesday that I might need, whether it be some sort of slap cut or high over a tree or something. Other than that, mostly just my regular practice work, getting my drills in, getting my putting work in. I'll definitely spend some time in the bunkers here because tour stand's always a little different. It's going to be a lot of just getting comfortable with the conditions after I see the golf course tomorrow.
For those that don't know, Brett's sister, Sarah, is a professional golfer, plays in the Epson Tour. I don't know if I've ever asked you this, Brett, so I apologize. What do you guys play a match? And if so, what do you play?
Let's see. Our schedules are so crazy that we probably only played a handful of times over the last 4 years. Probably 15 times over the last 4 years we played together, which is crazy. I'd love to go, play golf with her more regularly. But she's at the Tour Championship, Epson Series Tour Championship this week. So it's going to be a big week for both of us. Our matches, I don't know, she tees off somewhere like 6,600 yards. I'll tee off from the tips, and it's game on. Let's go. I'm not letting her win. I don't want to lose to her or anything. So she's beaten me.
And for those listening, Sarah's like a straight bomber. She's just like, she rips the ball. So 6,600, she probably had, I mean, Brett hits it long too, but from 6,600, Sarah probably has an advantage.
She's been the longest hitter on the Epson Tour for the last 4 years. Her average is crazy because it's probably close to mine, like her driving average. But yeah, it's she's got a lot of talent, and I'm hoping the best for her this week. We exchanged some text messages today for sure.
All right, last one. Get some. Skip asked, after Sanderson, what will your Q school preparation? I'll answer it, Skip, for him before he answers. It's to win and never go to Q school again. That's his preparation.
That's the plan A plan. Definitely. Win and never have to deal with a Q school again. That'd be awesome. But let's see. I'm signed up to do the Shriners next week, Monday qualifier. Still up in the air whether I do that or not. But then I got 2 weeks. October 24th to 27th is my Q school in Houston. Next 2 weeks, I'll probably take a scouting trip up there once or twice, depending on how I feel after the first time. I want to get a feel for what the green shape is and what the speeds are and stuff like that. But I played the first stage at Walden on Lake Conroe last year and got through. So I think I have a good game plan. I know the golf course from playing some APT Winter Series events there as well. So I have like 15 to 20 rounds out there, and that's kind of a golf course that it's goofy, it's small greens, it's a lot of dog legs, and course knowledge is paramount there. So I feel real comfortable with first stage, but it's just going to be my Q school prep is, it kind of slows down, your schedule does. And so you just try and rack up a bunch of really good days in a row, like get your workout, eat right, go practice, get good sleep, and just try and get as many good days as you can in a row leading up to Q school so that you're rested, you're confident, and you're mentally, if you got to get good sleep to be mentally prepared for the week because it's draining, but if you're confident, it's usually not the worst thing in the world.
Well, right now I'm claiming a practice round with you. I'm calling it. I want to follow you around because you're the guy to chase. So
there we go.
Put it down.
Walden,
right now.
are you playing? You're playing at Walden?
I'll be there. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. I'll get you my number and we'll go play practice round.
I'll give you a better game than Ryan did the last time you guys played.
Yeah, perfect.
Brett play well. As you know, Brett and I have stayed in touch a lot. He's been super helpful. Zack has, so appreciate all you've done for me, Brett. And as you know, huge
thanks
fan.
For having me on. I think this is probably my third or fourth time, with you guys. So, always appreciate you guys and what you do. And crazy how far you come, Ryan. So
yeah, thanks, man. It's been a crazy ride. It's not possible without people like yourself. So go win, and we'd prefer to not see you at first stage. Okay.
Yeah, I really don't want to see you there. Actually, I don't want to have to beat
I
you.
can still do a practice round though.
All right, perfect.
All right,
Okay.
sounds good.
See you, Brett. Play
Good luck,
well.
Matt. Play great.
See ya. All right, Marcus. That's we have to get to the golf course before the practice round before Q school. That's really. I know you're still on
have
here.
to go scout that out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So the two big takeaways from our successful Monday qualifiers are I got to get my ass down to Walden and Lake Conroe and start preparing for Q school.
Set up, right?
Figure out that golf course, and we probably need to spend more time in Bible study.
Probably.
Yeah.
Skip, I appreciate it. Michael, thank you. Thanks everybody for listening. Mark, go deal with your child. I'm going to bed. My kids are in bed. It's 9:00 here, and I'm going to go watch some Monday Night Football. And we have the wrong YouTube channel in here. That's not really our YouTube channel, so please don't subscribe to that one. We'll put the other one. And
Classic
Monday Q. But it really went well today. People were timed right. It was a better start than previous.
Yeah. Hey, it's the opening event of the season. We get time.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks for watching.